Hello everyone, welcome back to the Analyst by Vajiram and Ravi, dated 18th November 2024. Today again, we will be discussing some important topics that has appeared in today's The Hindu and The Indian Express newspapers which are very relevant for your exam. In our first topic, we'll look into various aspects of rising air pollution in Delhi, some possible reasons and solutions. Then in our second topic, we'll look into various dimensions of India-Nigeria relations, particularly in context of recent visit by our Prime Minister. Then in our simplified section, we'll take up 5 articles and we will try to explain them in simplest language possible to enrich your understanding of the newspapers. Additionally, we have also incorporated some prelims pointers which is going to be very important for your upcoming prelims 2025 exam. So please have a look on them also and stay tuned. So our first topic is severe plus air quality in Delhi. The context of this topic is that air quality index in Delhi was recorded at 481 this morning, the worst so far this season, forcing authorities to announce stricter pollution control measures. This particular topic pertains to syllabus of your GS paper 3, environmental pollution and degradation. So there was a time when conquering Delhi was every empire's dream, be it Mughals or Britishers. The Delhi was symbol of power and prosperity, but at this point of time, Delhi is battling with a different kind of invader, that is the air pollution and pollutants. As per this data from IQ Air, Delhi is one of the most polluted cities in the world. It is not only the Delhi, but most of the regions in the Delhi NCR have a poor air quality index. If you look into this data of last 2 weeks, the air quality index has been in a very poor to severe category, and that is where Delhi is becoming a gas chamber, and from a dream city it is becoming a toxic city. So what are the major reasons? Some of the natural reasons are, during the month of winters, what happens, this northwesterly winds brings us the dust and the pollutants from the regions of Pakistan, Afghanistan, and also the dust particle from this region of Thar Desert. Also, what happens, as you know, that one of the important reasons for rising air pollution in Delhi is the stubble burning. So this northwesterly winds brings us this smoke, pollutants, etc. from these regions of Punjab and Haryana to the regions of this Delhi NCR. And that is one of the important reasons for rising air pollution in Delhi. So the first important reason is this northwesterly winds and the pollutants it is bringing. Then the wind speed. What happens? In the month of winters, generally the weather becomes calm. The wind speed is very low or it is around negligible. So which is not as the case in the month of summer, where the wind speed is very high. So what happens, whatever the pollutants that are there, when there is no wind, the pollutants are bogged down to at that place only, and it cannot escape this area. So that is this low wind or negligible wind speed is the second important cause. Then the third important cause is this case of thermal inversion. What happens in the case of thermal inversion? This warm air traps the cold air. This cold air is high density air, and this is the first layer above the ground level. So what happens with this cold air itself, there are pollutants, and above this cold air there is warm air. So when this cold air cannot escape this layer of warm air, the pollutants also cannot escape this region, and generally this is a case of thermal inversion. What happens with the rising height, generally the temperature decreases, but here you see that with the height, increasing height, the temperature is not declining. The temperature at the above level is warmer, is high as compared to the lower level. So it is only because due to the winter like condition, the lower temperature is there at the ground level, so the air which is in contact with the ground is colder in nature. So with the pollutants also getting mixed with this cold air, it cannot escape this layer of the warm air, and that is why they are completely bogged down to at that place only, and they cannot escape this region. So these are some of the important reasons, natural reasons, that is the northwesterly winds, the low wind speed, and the phenomena of temperature inversion, where the cold air has been kept by the warm air at the lower levels. If you talk about some of the anthropogenic causes, major anthropogenic causes are the vehicular emissions, which as per this data from Center for Science and Environment, more than 40% of Delhi's total air pollution is happening due to the vehicular emissions. And these vehicles are also contributing to almost 22% to PM 2.5 levels. And one important other factor is that there are almost 12 million registered vehicles in Delhi region, which is much larger as compared to the number of registered vehicles in states like Bihar. So this high number of vehicles and the vehicular emissions are one of the important anthropogenic cause. Then the industrial pollution, that is it is contributing almost 10 to 15% to PM 2.5 levels as per this CPCB, that is Central for Pollution Control Board report 2020. Apart from that, the construction dust is also contributing almost 30% to PM 10 level and PM 2.5 levels in Delhi, as per data from National Environmental Engineering Research Institute 2020. Also, the crop residue burning, that is the stubble burning, also contribute to almost 44% of Delhi's air pollution as per this System of Air Quality and Weather Forecasting 2022. Also, the domestic and the waste burning, that it contributes almost 5 to 10% of Delhi's PM 2.5 levels with localized spikes during winters. And this was a study from Urban Emission Initiative 2021. And around 15% of waste in Delhi is burned annually. And the CPCB report on waste management 2020, this says that the 15% of waste that is being burned in the Delhi is also one of the important cause of the air pollution in Delhi. Apart from that, you will see that since Delhi have a very high population, it is generating a very high amount of waste on a daily basis. And all this waste is not being disposed sustainably, and you can see the dump site that is at the Gazipur or any other place. There may be a case of fire, small fire, which goes on for months to years, and that is one of the important causes of the air pollution. Some other important reasons are the high population of Delhi, because Delhi is fulfilling the ambitions of lot of people, be it for good jobs, be it for the good education. Everyone is coming to Delhi. So this city, which is attracting lot of people, has led to high increase in the population, and it has also led to high population density as per this data of National Institute of Urban Affairs and some other institutes which have done a study. The density people per square kilometer in Delhi is almost 19,698. Delhi has nearly twice the population density of New York, and it has a very low level of violent crimes, less than half of the New York. So what is happening, since this high population have led to resource constraints, where it has become really unsustainable for Delhi to fulfill the needs of the people, be it needs of sanitation, be it needs of the potable water, or even the basic necessities are not being fulfilled properly. Apart from that, when there is high population and the purchasing power of people have increased manifold, it led to fulfilling the ambitions that like people are buying new vehicles, etc. And when these vehicles are being bought, people are also using it on roads, and Delhi have a somewhat linear structure, and more people, good transportation facilities are there, good roads are there. So people are getting out with their vehicles, and more vehicles are on roads, and that is leading to high pollution levels. So this high population and the population density, apart from that, the resource constraints is one of the important reasons. And when there is a high population, people are generating more and more wastes. People are unsustainably disposing these wastes, and it will lead to more and more pollutions in the regions. What are the impacts of air pollution? There every year around 7 million deaths are happening due to air pollution as per some data compiled by various institutes of the world. Apart from that, if it have effects on health like the eye infection, dizziness, nausea, reproductive system diseases. Apart from that, headache, nasal irritation, heart disease, lung disease like asthma, etc. You can see the respiratory diseases takes a very high rate. They see a spike, especially during the month of the winters in Delhi regions. It also affects on the environment. The particulates can reduce the visibility and create smog, and smog reduces the amount of sunlight that reaches the ground, altering the overall temperature of the area. Ozone also reduces the plant productivity and kills plant that are sensitive to it, which affects the ecosystem. Oxides such as nitrogen dioxide and sulfur dioxides creates acids that leads to acid rain, and acid rain damages plant and aquatic systems. So how does this air pollution affects animals? First, it also leads to respiratory issues and lung diseases to the animals, neurological problem and skin irritations to the animals, disruptions to endocrine functions, and increased vulnerability to the diseases. It is not affecting only humans, it is also affecting the environment, it is also affecting the animals. Just look at your vicinity in the Delhi region, you will see a layer of thick dust on every tree that is there in Delhi, and that is only due to the high level of particulate matters that are in the environment. Several government initiatives that has been taken, for example, the air quality index, which mainly calculates the 8 major air pollutants, that is the ground level ozone, PM10 level, PM2.5 level, and the carbon dioxide level, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxide, ammonia, and lead. Also, the BS6 vehicles has been now India has mandated this BS6 vehicles, which has helped in the reduced emissions. For example, in the diesel car, as per the data from Union Minister, the NOx emissions will reduce to almost 68%. The PM emissions will reduce to almost 87% in the diesel cars, and in the heavy duty vehicles, we'll see at least 82% reductions in the NOx emissions, that is nitrogen oxide dioxide emissions, and at least 67% reduction in the particulate matter ejections. Also, the AQI that we calculate at this point of time, it is near 401, it is near 400, which is the severe category, and it affects healthy people and seriously impacts those with existing disease. This is the air quality index and the category they have been provided. Apart from that, there has been a national air quality monitoring program. The main aim was to determine the status and trends of ambient air quality, to identify the non-attainment city which has a poor air quality and how they can achieve that, to ascertain whether the prescribed national standards are crossed, and to develop policy towards the reduction of pollution levels in every city. Also, there has been a statutory body that has been established with name Commission for Air Quality Management. By the act of this Commission on Air Quality Management in National Capital Region and Adjoining Areas Act 2021, which has been given the enabling powers that they can restrict some of the activities in the Delhi NCR region. They have this power of investigation, or they can visit some of the establishment to check what amount of the pollution they are doing. It has been provided with a chairperson, and some ex officio members, some technical members are also part of this CAQM. And this has given this graded response action plan, which is an emergency response mechanism in Delhi NCR based on the average air quality levels in capital. And under this plan, restrictions are placed in phases on activities related to transportation, construction, industries, among other. Also, you can see there has been a 14-point action plan which came by this Delhi government, which have various measures, some short-term measures and long-term measures, like controlling the dust pollutions, stopping and prohibiting the open burning of the waste, industrial pollutions should be tackled well, then solid waste management, real-time apportionment study, then increased green cover, dialogue with the neighboring states to address the issues like stubble burning, eco clubs at schools and colleges so that sustainable livings can be promoted, e-waste eco park, development of parks, developments of lakes and water bodies, urban farming, development of city forest and tree transplantations. So what should be done actually to address this issue? The first is we have to promote the EV vehicles and public transports. Delhi have a very good connections of metros. There are good buses that are available which are running on the batteries EVs, but still people are using their own vehicles. Some of the basic cultural changes like carpooling etc. can be promoted, which can actually help in minimizing the number of cars that are on road, and that can actually help in reducing the vehicular emissions manifold. Also, there is need to implement strict construction dust control measures. We have to ensure that whatever the contractors or whatever the workers who are working there, they should be provided with proper safety gears. Also, we need to move towards more sustainable construction practices which have less emissions of dust particles, which have less emissions of the particulate matters. Also, we need to adopt cleaner fuel for industries. For example, we can transition to natural gas and burn furnace oils. Also, the industries can move towards more sustainable practices, like they can use some of the practices where there are some chimneys, etc., that can help in minimizing the pollutants that are coming into the air. Also, we can provide subsidies for stubble management alternatives, like we can equip farmers with technology, incentivize eco-friendly practices, and that is where this happy seeder is doing the work, where through this agricultural extension services, the happy seeders are being provided at a rent. Apart from that, government is also giving subsidy for these happy seeders, and under this there is no need to burn this stubble. Rather, direct seedling of wheat can be done at this farm itself which have this stubble. So this needs to be promoted at a much higher rate. Apart from that, we need to strengthen the waste management and recycling systems. For example, we need to ban open burning, improve the waste segregation efficiency. We need to expand the green cover and urban forest. We need to develop park, plant trees, increased biodiversity corridors. We also need to improve air quality monitoring and enforcement. For that, whatever the practices that are being already followed, whatever the stations that are there, we need to equip them with better technology. We need to ensure that technologies are being upgraded at proper level. Apart from that, we have also seen in some media reports that there has been some practices like sprinkling of water, etc., at those stations, so that they can show a lower degree of air quality index. So all those things needs to be addressed properly. There should be a transparent methodology. All the data that is coming in the public domain shall be transparent, shall be real. Also, we can deploy real-time sensors and penalize the non-compliance effectively to address this issue properly. So we have to understand this thing very clearly, that this issue of air pollution is not something new. It has been earlier also, and we are witnessing it from past many years. And although I am a very optimistic person, but in my opinion, it will be for several other years until and unless there is a change from the people itself. Until and unless that cultural change we will see, it will be very difficult to address this issue by the government policies itself. Because let's suppose a government do not have that resource, that they are not equipped with such kind of resources that they can ensure that compliance will happen at every corner. They cannot ensure that they will penalize everyone. So until and unless there will be individual initiatives that will be taken. For example, let's suppose if it has been decided by every farmer that they will not burn the stubbles. For example, if it has been decided by every worker that they will promote carpooling, they will use public transportation, and slowly and gradually then we can reduce this air pollution. Although already we are battling with some of the natural causes which is going to be instrumental, which is very important. We cannot restrict that, we cannot minimize that. So better would be that we incorporate that individual changes. We go for that cultural changes where we are disposing our waste properly, where we are disposing our wastes sustainably, rather than only relying on the government efforts. A mains practice question that you people can write from this topic is that Delhi's air pollution crisis has reached alarming proportions. Discuss the factor contributing to the crisis and suggest some broad-based measures required to mitigate the problem. So our second topic is India-Nigeria relations. The context of this topic is that recent visit by Prime Minister to Nigeria have led to several developments in relation between India and Nigeria. This particular topic pertains to syllabus of your GS paper 2, groupings and agreements involving India and or affecting India's interests, and effects of policies and politics of countries on India's interest. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi have visited for the first time to Nigeria as Prime Minister of India, and this comes after 17 years since any Prime Minister of India visited Nigeria. If you talk about Nigeria, why it is important for India? It is Africa's most populous country and second largest economy. So if we are targeting good relations with the continent Africa, then Nigeria is one of the important country. Also, we have some historical links with the Nigeria in century 1500, with Baba Ghor, a gem merchant from Kano, Nigeria, have settled in Gujarat, India. That shows we have historical ties with the Nigeria. Also, both the countries are Commonwealth members, means both were the earlier colonies of the British Empire. Also, both the countries are large multi-ethnic democracies which are promoting, which are giving proper respect to different race, caste, genders and ethnic minorities. Also, they are facing somewhat similar challenges like governance, corruption and terrorism. For example, in case of Nigeria also, there is a lot of terrorist activities that are being done by the group Boko Haram. Also, the president of Nigeria have given the national honor Grand Commander of Order of Niger on Prime Minister Narendra Modi in his recent visit. So what is the importance of India-Nigeria relations? First important is the trade and economic relations between both the countries. For example, the bilateral trade between both the countries is almost $14.95 billion in year 21-22, and this data is from Ministry of Commerce and Industry year 2022. Also, India's import 20% of its energy needs, that is crude oil and natural gas, from the Nigeria itself. Also, if you talk about the area of energy security, the Nigeria is fourth largest supplier of crude oil to India, providing 15% of India's oil imports as per this data of Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas 2022. And various companies of India which are in the petroleum sector like ONGC, Videsh, have a substantial amount of investment in Nigeria and they are processing crude oil, etc. Also, in the case of pharmaceutical and healthcare collaborations, the pharmaceutical exports to Nigeria have reached almost $500 million in year 2022 as per the Pharmaceuticals Export Promotion Council of India in year 2022 report. Also, in the case of education and human resource development, over 25,000 Nigerian students pursue higher educations in India. And also, there is a scheme ITEC that is being run by the Ministry of External Affairs, which is also one of the important component which is promoting the foreign students in India. If we talk about the investment opportunities, investments over $15 billion in Nigeria has been done by the Indians across agriculture, telecommunication and IT as per this data from Confederation of Indian Industry. Also, the Bharti Airtel is one of the largest telecom networks in Nigeria with over 40 million subscribers. If we talk about defense and security cooperations, India is providing training to Nigerian military personnel under bilateral defense agreements. Also, we have diaspora and cultural ties where more than 50,000 Indian nationals resides in Nigeria. That is helping in that cultural exchange as well as ensuring there is people-to-people connect. Also, we have multilateral cooperations across different sectors. For example, Nigeria supports India's candidacy for a UNSC, that is United Nations Security Council permanent seat. Also, we have seen collaboration between India and Nigeria in Africa Union India Summit and South-South cooperation on climate change and development issues. So, what are the various opportunities that both countries have? As per the talks that has happened recently, both the countries are going to cooperate on the areas of counter-terrorism, maritime security and intelligence sharing. You can see the strategic location that Nigeria have. It is located at one of the important sea routes, and Nigeria is going to play a very instrumental role, especially in tackling the maritime security issues like the attacks on ships, etc. Also, as we have seen that both the countries are facing the issue of the counter-terrorism, Lashkar-e-Taiba and JEM, etc. has been attacking India. Similarly, the Boko Haram has been creating issues in the Nigeria. So, both the countries are cooperating to ensure that there is a convention on the terrorism that should be signed by most of the countries of the world. There should be a global definition of the terrorism which is not at this point of time. Also, defense modernization efforts. As of now, to ensure the sovereignty and integrity of its country, Nigeria is exploring options for defense imports, and India is one such country which can provide affordable defense equipments and some of the state-of-art technologies to Nigeria. In this regard, only talks are going on. Also, we have some finalization of pending agreements, for example economic cooperation agreement, double tax avoidance agreement and bilateral investment treaties. Also, if you talk about the investments, more than $14 billion of investment was pledged during the sidelines of G20 summit by Indian investors, and that too some of the important investors like Jindal Steels and various companies in the power sectors were interested in investing in Nigeria. Also, with regard to the food security and agriculture, India has been one of the important exporter of rice to the Nigeria, and that has helped in ensuring food security. Apart from that, Nigeria was one of the important country which has supported India in declaring 2023 as International Year of Millets. So both the countries are cooperating in the food security and the agriculture arena. Apart from that, in the healthcare sector, there has been talks going on for the establishment of hospitals and diagnostic centers and deployment of innovative health management systems that can actually help in achieving the sustainable development goals for the Nigeria also, and also ensuring that mortality etc. can be reduced for some of the communicable diseases. Also, there has been talks for strengthening collaboration on the education sectors, that more countries, more people, more students can come and study in some of the top higher educational institutes of India. Also, if you talk about the cultural exchanges, both the countries are fostering strong people-to-people contacts, building on long-standing historical ties and mutual aspirations. A mains practice question that you people can write from this particular topic is that India and Nigeria share deep historical and cultural ties. Discuss the key areas of cooperation between the two countries and analyze the potential for further strengthening their bilateral relationship in 21st century. In our simplified section, our first topic is the contribution of carbon dioxide to the global warming. This particular topic pertains to syllabus of your GS paper 3, environmental pollution and degradation, and this has appeared in today's Indian Express page number 12. So the context is that this has appeared in today's explained section of Indian Express, and it says that Indian carbon dioxide emissions from burning fossil fuels are expected to increase by 4.6% in year 2024, the highest among the major economies of the world. Also, according to a new report of Global Carbon Project, an organization that quantifies the world's greenhouse gas emissions. So this has been the report from this Global Carbon Project. Globally, the fossil-based CO2 emissions are set to touch a record high of 37.4 billion tons this year, a rise of 0.8% from year 2023. And the report said that at this rate, there is a chance that 50% chance of global warming will exceed 1.5 degrees Celsius consistently in about 6 years. It said the CO2 is one of the most important global greenhouse gas emissions and primary driver of anthropogenic climate change, the climate change that is happening due to human activities, that is the human induced causes. Also, you know that we have made a target that to limit the global temperature by 1.5 degree pre-industrial level, but at the rate at which we are emitting carbon dioxide, it will be very difficult for us to limit our global temperatures to this level. Also, if you look into this data for millennia, the atmospheric carbon dioxide had never been above this line, but since in last few years you can see the current level have breached that level and the carbon dioxide emissions have increased many fold. Also, as you know that the greenhouse gas emissions are the gases in Earth's atmosphere. It is not that the greenhouse gases are not present in the air or in atmosphere naturally, but when their amount is being tweaked, okay, when there has been lot of greenhouse gas emissions that is happening due to anthropogenic causes, that is leading to high temperatures, high global temperatures, and also that is leading to global warming. So what actually these greenhouse gases do? They trap the heat. The sun, which actually emits the short radiation or sunlight that passes through the atmosphere and is absorbed by the planet's surface to warm it. Some of this sunlight is reflected back by the surface as infrared radiation, which has a long wave radiation. Also, the greenhouse gases such as CO2 and methane, which cannot absorb shortwave radiation, trap this infrared radiation, and that is because unlike oxygen or nitrogen molecules, CO2 and CH4 are made up of 3 or more atoms, which gives them a large variety of ways to stretch and bend. So you can see that these greenhouse gases are actually helping our atmosphere to reflect back, to ensure that there is a habitable level of temperature is there at the earth. Also, in simple term, you can see that these greenhouse gases act like a blanket that envelops earth and insulates it from the cold of space, and the process of maintaining a warmer temperature is called as greenhouse effect. So what happens, there are some practices where these greenhouse chambers are made, and at that point there the temperature is regulated to ensure that the proper temperature, the ambient temperature and required conditions are provided for the production of particular crop. Also, there are greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, then methane and water vapor that occur naturally and are a boon for the planet, as without this greenhouse gas effect there would not be liquid water and any form of life on the earth. If you look into this, that it has been found that between 1750 and 2011, CO2 had the highest positive RF, that is the radiative force or heating effect of 3 different climate drivers, meaning that it has the greatest warming effect on the planet. That one of the important contributor was CO2. The analysis also showed that other greenhouse gases such as methane, hydrofluorocarbons, which are much more potent, while CH4 is around 80 times more powerful than CO2. I have given this table in which you can see that the carbon dioxide have an atmospheric lifetime of almost 50 to 200 and its global warming potential has been kept at 1. But if you look into this data of CH4, data for methane, it have much more global warming potential as compared to CO2, but the lifetime of CH4 is less. Apart from that, other greenhouse gases like hydrofluorocarbons have much more global warming potentials as compared to this carbon dioxide. Also, most of the since onset of the industrial times, human activities have raised atmospheric CO2 by 50%, according to NASA report. CO2 also remains in the atmosphere longer than other major greenhouse gas emitted due to human activities, and it takes about a decade for CH4 emissions to leave the atmosphere. It converts into CO2. Notably, water vapor is most abundant greenhouse gas in the atmosphere. However, it has a short cycle, that is 10 days on average, and does not build up in atmosphere in the same way as CO2 does. So what you can conclude from this article is that if there is a question in your prelims exam that whether water vapor is also one of the greenhouse gas or not, you will have to mark that correct, that water vapor is also one of the most abundant greenhouse gases. Also, you can see this table about the global warming potential and the atmospheric lifetime of each greenhouse gas for your prelims exam. Our next topic is, why were the Kerala IAS officers suspended? This particular topic pertains to syllabus of your GS paper 4, role of civil services in a democracy, and this has appeared in today's The Hindu page number 8. The context is that the state government of Kerala has suspended 2 IAS officers, N. Prashant and K. Gopalakrishnan, citing violation of service rules. What are the allegations? The charges against the N. Prashant is that he had made derogatory statements on social media against the A. Jaitilak IAS, that is the additional chief secretary of the Kerala, and which has amounted to grave indiscipline and undermining the public image of the administrative machinery of the state. Whereas the government, for the second officer, he have allegedly created a religion-based WhatsApp group that showed disunity and created a communal formation within the IAS cadre. So what are the IAS rules based on which they has been suspended? As per this All India Services Conduct Rules 1968, that is AIS rules, which governs the conduct of IAS, IPS and Indian forest officers. The officers should maintain high standards of ethics, integrity, honesty, political neutrality and accountability and transparency. They should uphold the supremacy of constitutional values. They can participate or contribute in the public media. in bona fide discharge of their duties. They shall not in any communication over any public media adversely criticize the policies of the government. They shall not have recourse to any court or press for the vindication of official act that has been subject matter of criticism without the previous sanctions of the government. It also contains an omnibus rule that the officials shall not do nothing which is unbecoming of member of the services. Now what happens, this term unbecoming of the member of the service is has been a subject of the debate, that what actually this means. There has been no objective definition that has been provided which can define the unbecoming of the members of the services. So that is why it has been kept open-ended, it has been kept open for the interpretations. In this regard only, the issues are that rules do not have explicit guidelines with respect to the communication through the social media, that what are the things which is the public domain of the officer and what is the private domain of the officer or personal domain of the officer. There has been no clear-cut explicit guidelines. Also, the rules have been amended from time to time by including various new conduct guidelines that regulate both the private and public official life of the officers. Again, that I talked that this phrase unbecoming of the member of the service can be misused, misinterpreted, and it must also be borne in the mind that invariably in all cases it is the senior officers and the government who enforces these rules against the junior officers, and hence the latter need to be protected from any such misuse, because these senior officers are actually officers who are conducting that particular inquiry on which the charges has been made. So what can be some suggestions? What are the review that can happen? First, specific rules may be added with regard to the use of social media. There can be an objective guidelines that can be given, and it can have guidelines for the nature of official content that can be posted, as well as right to defend against the defamatory campaign concerning official work. Secondly, an illustrative list may be provided for the term unbecoming of members of the services, that what actually constitute the unbecoming of civil servant, and it can be based on the past instances where actions had been taken on the basis. Officers, especially the youngsters, should remember that anonymity is an important trait of civil servants. In the present day and age, social media is a powerful medium for providing publicity to various government initiatives, and it mainly helps in educating citizens when used judiciously. However, the officer should exercise responsible anonymity while discharging their functions and disseminating information about the same. They have to understand at what level they can share the personal information. You can see there are various reel officers who are promoting, who are posting lot of reels and personal lives on their social media platforms. It seems that they are promoting their personal life rather than promoting the government initiatives. So there should be a sense of responsibility from the officers itself, that they post that information that is relevant for the public. They can keep a separate private account, and they can keep a public account where more and more public information can be posted which is different from their private affairs. Also, the government need to ensure that there is a clear-cut guidelines based on which the unbecoming of civil servant can be defined, and use of social media can be also regulated by the government. If you look into various other conduct rules that a particular civil servant need to follow, and which you people would also be subjected to after you become a member of All India services, that civil servants must maintain absolute integrity, devotion to duty and impartiality, and they are prohibited from engaging in activities that comprises dignity or efficiency of their offices. Officers cannot be associated with any political party. They cannot contest elections or express opinions on political matters publicly. Acceptance of gifts, lavish hospitality, or financial benefits that could influence decision making is prohibited. This is one such a rule which needs to be followed, which there should be a proper mechanism that these rules are followed properly, because these are some rules which are flouted most of the times. Civil servant must declare their assets and liabilities annually and disclose transactions of significant monetary value. Employment in commercial ventures or private organizations during service without prior government approval is completely forbidden. Also, they are restricted from publicly criticizing government policies or making statements that might damage the government's reputation. Also, use of social media for official purposes must comply with the established guidelines which are in place. However, we need much more explicit, transparent and objective guidelines. Also, violation of these rules can lead to disciplinary proceedings ranging from censure to dismissal from the service. Since we are talking about the social media, there has been one such country which has imposed ban on children from using the social media. Can you please tell me the name of that country in the comment box? Also, please give me your opinion that is it feasible, is it a right approach for restricting or prohibiting the use of social media by children below the age of particular year or not? What should be the policy which can maintain a balance between the use of social media by children and also the negative effects that are happening due to the social medias? Our next topic is reaching out with AI. This particular topic pertains to syllabus of your GS paper 2 government policies and interventions and syllabus of your GS paper 3 artificial intelligence, scientific innovations and discoveries, and this has appeared in today's Indian Express page number 9, and this particular editorial has been written by none other than former Union Minister Rajiv Chandrasekhar. So what is written in the editorial is that in the last 10 years we have seen a major transformation in India. The Indian economy has become the 5th largest in the world. Also, there has been change, there has been improved in the quality of governance. We are providing citizen-centric governance. Also, this has been only possible. One of the important reason why it has been possible is because of the technology and a vision of digital public infrastructure. For example, JAM Trinity, that is Jan Dhan, Aadhaar and Mobile, which has helped in revolutionizing the direct benefit transfers. Now, there has been reduced leakages, reduced corruptions, and actual benefits are reaching to the last mile. Also, AI has many things. At its core, the promise is that it has power to deliver more with the less. It is an enabler to coming wave of innovations. Also, there are 3 things that are mainly driving these changes that are happening due to AI. First is the pace of digitalization is rapidly accelerating. Currently, 90 crore Indians are connected to the internet by 2026, and that figure will touch almost 120 crore, making India one of the largest connected and digitized country in the world. Also, fintech and many over 1 lakh startups that have grown in last few years have been boosted by the government's digital moves. For example, startup policy, digital India missions, etc. Also, Gov AI, that is you providing governance by AI, can and will catalyze the Indian AI ecosystem, creating a huge ecosystem of startups and innovators building AI models, products and platforms. And this impact of government digitalization initiatives and its moves therein with AI will be significant. The scale and size of opportunity is unique to India and it must be fully exploited. At this point of time, one important factor we have to understand that we are listening, that we should reap our demographic dividend, and that one of the important component that will be only possible if we are getting the benefits that we are providing this demography with the proper skill sets that is needed by the industry. We are providing this particular demography with the needs of the industry, that is artificial intelligence, which is one of the important needs of the industry. So we need to equip them with the skill sets that are needed to function AI. Also, more and more Indians connect to and use the internet and digital ecosystem. Each is consuming and generating huge volumes of data. This is also making India one of the largest data repositories in the world. Digital public infrastructures and digitization have made government big repositories of personal and non-personal data. Also, government has been focusing that more and more startups, more and more social media companies and various e-commerce companies ensure that they are bringing their data centers to India. The data localization is being promoted by the government. In post-COVID world, governance around the world are looking for ways to more with the resources, means more efficient governance is being promoted so that the resource utilizations can be better. So that is also one area where AI can be very helpful in providing the governance, because government is thinking that efficient use of resources can happen and AI can actually help in efficient use of resources. Also, the AI with the digital public infrastructure can help reimagine the governance and hasten the attainment of the PM Modi's goal of maximum governance, also the goal of developed country by 2047, when India will be achieving 100 years of independence. Okay, there are some small language models too that they can actually help in reimagining the governance, but they will not be only limited to the following, like government revenue and finances, policy and schemes, etc. So it is not only limited to these areas. These are the some of the areas. They will be on not only limited. We have to understand. For example, let's suppose in the agriculture sector or fisheries sector, we can have an AI model that can give us a better idea about the weather forecasting. That can give us a better idea about any disaster. That can help give us a proper idea about the soil quality. So if we can get this data at a shorter span of time with the AI, that can help in improving the governance structure of the country. So what we were saying, that is the digital public infrastructure. What is that? These are the set of digital platforms and systems that enable the delivery of the essential public services to the citizens. The digital equivalent of the physical infrastructure. What are the physical infrastructure? Roads, bridges, etc. So digital public infrastructures are those systems that enable the delivery of essential public services to the citizens. For example, UPI, for example, Aadhaar, for example, DigiLocker, and Aadhaar enable payment system, IMPS, eKYC, etc. all are helping in easing out the lives of people. So what the former minister have written, that since the pace of digitization is changing, the connectivity is increasing in India, more and more data consumption is increasing. Also, government is thinking of better resource utilization, increasing the efficiency. All these components, all these reasons can actually lead us where we will integrate more AI for providing better governance to the people. Also, the minister says that India is currently chair of Global Partnership of AI, which is a multi-stakeholder initiative that aims to bridge the gap between theory and practice of AI by supporting cutting-edge research and applied activities on AI-related priorities. And this GPAI is a group of 29 member countries, including European Union, of which India is a founding member. So you have to understand that whatever we are listening, whatever we are reading in theory, GPAI is actually promoting the practical aspects of that those theories can be actually made into the product. So this particular platform can be utilized to ensure trusted partnership can play a lead role in shaping the future of tech and AI, and more use of AI can be promoted in the governance. Also, in last 10 years, we have seen a transformation that have placed India in the pole positions of global narrative on tech in governance, inspiring many countries to learn and follow the suit. Making governance the killer app for AI will extend the arc future, truly reimagining governance in the age of AI. Welcome to the age of Gov AI. That is AI that is being used for the governance. This was all from this particular topic. Our next topic is India conducts historic flight test of hypersonic missile with a range of 1500 km. This particular topic is related to your GS paper 3 defense technology, and this has appeared in today's The Hindu page number 1. The context is that India on Sunday announced the successful flight test of its maiden long range hypersonic missile with a range of 1500 km. Understand this thing. The speed is hypersonic and range is 1500 km. You can think of how many countries can be covered by this particular hypersonic missile in case of any emergency. Also, the DRDO, that is Defense Research and Development Organization, conducted this flight test late on the Saturday from Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Island of Odisha coast. You people please tell me in the comment box what was the earlier name of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Island. And there has been a question by UPSC that was also asked from this particular coast. What is the special characteristic of this coast? That you also tell me in the comment box. Also, this has been latest in the series of missile tests in past 2 months, and missile is designed to carry various payloads for ranges greater than 1500 km for all the services of armed forces, that is Army, Air Force and Navy. This missile has been indigenously developed by DRDO. Hypersonic weapons are maneuverable, means they can be, their direction etc. can be changed in flight itself, and they can fly at speed of that of at least Mach 5, means 5 times the speed of sound. For example, here how we actually calculate this Mach number. You can see the object of speed is divided by the speed of sound. For example, speed of sound is 343 meter per second. Here let's suppose the object of the speed is also 343 meter per second, means here the speed is 1 Mach, which is equivalent to the speed of the sound. So if we are saying that they are the hypersonic weapons or hypersonic missile, means their speed is 5 times that is of the speed of the sound. Also, there are two other important terms, that is the ballistic missile and the cruise missiles. Cruise missiles are those missiles, you can see these are the cruise missiles. They have a low altitude, they are self-guided and follows a relatively straight path, whereas ballistic missiles are high altitude. They have a ballistic trajectory which is somewhat arc shaped after initial propulsion has been given. Also, if you talk about the engines, the cruise missiles are propelled by jet engines or turbojet for sustained flight, whereas rocket engines for initial boost, and then the ballistic missiles relies on the momentum and the gravity. Also, cruise missile have a speed of subsonic to supersonic, whereas hypersonic speeds during re-entry phase of the ballistic missiles. These cruise missiles are easier to detect due to low altitude flights and the radar signatures, whereas ballistic missiles are more difficult to be detected during mid-course phases due to the high altitude that it attains during the mid journey. Also, they are highly maneuverable, can change course of their mid-flight, and limited maneuverability can be provided after the initial launch with the ballistic missile. The cruise missiles typically short range, that is 100 of kilometers, and ballistic missile can have very long ranges, 1000 to kilometers. Please tell me in the comment box examples of some ballistic missiles and cruise missiles of India. Next topic is the center eases norms for soya bean procurement. This particular topic pertains to syllabus of your GS paper 3 agriculture subsidies, and this has appeared in today's The Hindu, page number 10. The context is that ahead of crucial Maharashtra election, the center has relaxed the norms for procuring soya bean, relaxing the earlier norms that soya bean with the moisture content of less than 12% now can be procured under the price support scheme during the last Kharif season. And official order of the Union Agriculture Ministry on Friday said soya bean with the moisture content up to 15% can also be procured by the states. So earlier what was happening, even for the most of the crops, there is a quality requirements. Until and unless that quality is being met by the produce of the farmers, the NAFED or NCC etc. will not buy that particular produce. Government agencies will not buy the produce at the MSP price. Also, the central nodal agencies, that is NAFED and NCC, are accordingly has been directed to make the payment to state level procurement agencies at the price after adjusting the value of relaxed percentage of the moisture, while paying the payment of the MSP in full will be ensured by the state level procuring agencies, and state government can consent to the registered farmer for the procured soybean stocks under the PSS. So there has been a scheme that has been launched with the name Pradhan Mantri Annadata Aay Sanrakshan Abhiyan, that is PM ASHA. Under this, the one important component was the price support scheme or PSS, where the physical procurement of pulses, oil seeds and copra to be done by central nodal agencies like NAFED along with the state government, central government to bear the procurement expenditure and losses due to the procurement up to 25% of the production will be done. Also, the other component was price deficiency payment system, that is PDPS, that will cover all oil seeds for MSP is notified. Farmers will get direct payment of the difference between MSP and the selling price. It is somewhat the Bhavantar Bhugtan Yojana, that is the difference between the MSP and the actual selling price that is being done by the farmers in the private market. However, this hasn't been very functional, or this has been not very successful because of the various issues that there has been a cartel of various contractors, of various wholesalers, who deliberately kept the market price below a particular price to get the benefits of this price deficiency payment system. However, that's why this was the reason that it hasn't been very successful. Then the private procurement and stockist scheme, where participation of private sector in procurement operations to be piloted. For oil seeds, states have the option to roll out the scheme on pilot basis in selected districts. APMCs involved involving the private stockists. Means the private participation has been also ensured under the procurement and stockist scheme. Also, if you talk about the NAFED, it has been established in 1958 for farmers empowerment, which focuses on agricultural marketing and cooperative trade, and they buy crops ensuring the minimum support prices, and they focuses on the diversification and the modernization. Also, since we have talked about the MSP or minimum support price, you can see that how actually the MSP is calculated. It as of now, it is being provided on the A2 plus FL cost. A2 covers all cash and kind expenses incurring by farmers on seeds, fertilizers, chemicals, hired labor, fuel, irrigation, all the inputs that he is using. Plus in the A2 plus FL, it is the actual cost plus an imputed value of unpaid family labor. As of now, 1.5 times of A2 plus FL is being provided to the farmers, whereas what farmers are demanding is this C2 cost, which includes A2 plus FL along the revenues foregone on owned land, that is rent, and fixed capital assets, the interest that is being paid by the farmers for fixed capital assets, and the rent that is being paid for the owned land. Also, CACP, which is the body which is recommending MSP for 22 crops before the sowing period each year. MSP derived for Toria is based on MSP for rapeseed and mustard, and dehusked coconut on the basis of MSP of copra. And fair and remunerative prices for sugar is also declared. There are 14 crops for the Kharif. There are 7 crops for the Rabi season, and 4 calendar crops are there, that is copra, dehusked coconut, jute and sugarcane, for which FRP is being provided. There is one prelims PYQ that has been asked in year 2020. Please tell me the answer of this particular PYQ in the comment box. That was all from today's analyst. Thank you very much. All the best. Keep studying.